The sky was thick with shadows as the abyssal demons swooped down, their dark wings slicing through the air like jagged blades. They launched a fierce assault against the skeletal warriors and skeletal mages that Lin had summoned, their twisted forms clashing with the rattling bones of the undead army. Lin watched from below, his sharp eyes narrowing. He knew brute force alone wouldn't win this battle. These demons weren't bound by the ground. They danced through the skies with frightening speed, making it impossible for Lin to rely on his usual tactic of hurling corpses and detonating them. All it took was a swift dodge, and the demons were out of harm's way. The skeletal mages responded with torrents of fire and shards of ice, their spells illuminating the battlefield in bursts of crimson and sapphire. But the sword-wielding demons were agile, weaving through the magical onslaught with ease. Frustration gnawed at Lin. He lacked a crucial weapon, a spell that could drag these airborne foes down, pinning them to the ground where his forces held the advantage. Without such a spell, the battle felt like a stalemate, each side trading blows without a decisive edge. After relentless waves of attacks, the abyssal demons made their retreat, vanishing into the sky like dark comets. They knew the humans couldn't follow them there. But Lin wasn't satisfied. Despite inflicting heavy damage, he hadn't annihilated them. All his efforts felt wasted, like trying to catch smoke with bare hands. His gaze hardened as he tracked the direction of their flight. He clenched his fists, determination igniting within him. If he couldn't finish them here, he would hunt them down at their source and end it once and for all. Turning on his heel, Lin summoned another wave of skeletal warriors, their hollow eyes glowing with an eerie light. They marched tirelessly, their bone-clad feet pounding the ground as they followed the path of the fleeing demons. Lin's mind raced with possibilities. Was there a stronghold ahead? Perhaps even the heart of the abyssal threat itself? The scene shifted to the relentless advance of the skeletal army. The abyssal sword demons, refusing to admit defeat, spun around with fury burning in their crimson eyes. They dived back into battle, slashing through the undead ranks with brutal precision. Explosions of bone and dark magic erupted with each strike, but the skeletal soldiers seemed unfazed, their ranks never thinning. Watching this, one of the demons hesitated, doubt creeping into its thoughts. Was Lin truly human? The sheer scale of his power felt otherworldly, like a colossal world boss ripped straight from a forgotten legend. The demons shuddered, wondering if they lacked the strength to even scratch someone so seemingly insignificant, yet terrifyingly powerful. The abyssal demon commander snarled, his instincts screaming the truth. Lin was using the skeletal army as a distraction. His real target was their stronghold. Realizing the deception, the commander bellowed an order, his voice echoing across the battlefield like a war drum. The remaining demons broke away from the undead, their wings slicing through the air as they surged after Lin, determined to stop him before he reached the heart of their darkness. Minutes later, Lin arrived at his destination, untouched but tense. A heavy, oppressive aura hung in the air, the unmistakable presence of a powerful demon. As he crept closer, his eyes widened in disbelief. Rising from the dark shadows within the demonic abyss was an abyssal city, its twisted spires piercing the gloom like jagged teeth. The sight was staggering, even for someone like Lin. Without hesitation, he summoned more skeletal warriors. Seeing this, the abyssal sword demons roared in outrage. They thought to themselves if the human was insane, as no mortal had ever dared to set foot inside their sacred city, let alone launch an assault on it. Even the mighty dragon clan, with all their unimaginable power, had never attempted such madness, fearing the wrath of the demon king himself. But Lin wasn't bound by fear. The demons scrambled to devise a plan to neutralize the advancing human and his relentless undead army, but panic clouded their judgment. They didn't even know where to begin. Inside the dark palace at the heart of the city, a lone demon guard stood sentinel. Suddenly, the force field enveloping the dark stronghold flickered, a subtle disturbance, but enough to draw the guard's attention. Lin then assessed the barrier, realizing brute force wouldn't shatter it, but he didn't need brute force. He had creativity. Summoning two skeletal warriors, he issued an unexpected command. "Throw me." The undead soldiers obeyed without hesitation. Lin climbed onto their swords, bracing himself. Dark energy swirled around him as he cloaked himself in powerful skeletal armor. confident it would shield him from any impact. With a mighty heave, the skeletal warriors launched Lin skyward like a cannonball. He soared through the abyss, the wind screaming past him. Just as he pierced the barrier, he executed his plan flawlessly, despawning all the skeletal warriors outside the force field. The abyssal sword demons below realized, too late, the gravity of their situation. Lin was inside the demonic castle. Panic spread like wildfire. They knew that if Lin was loose within their stronghold, disaster was inevitable. Even if they tried to block his path, his skeletal army, once resummoned, would tear through their defenses. And Lin wasted no time. As soon as he landed, he slammed his hands onto the ground, summoning every last skeletal warrior back into existence within the barrier's confines. The abyssal demon commander's heart sank. This was more than just a battle. It was the prelude to their doom. Lin commanded his skeletal warriors forward, their hollow eyes gleaming with eerie determination. The undead army surged like a relentless tide, clashing with abyssal demons and monstrous creatures, tearing through them with bone and blade. Dark, magnificent structures tied to the palace crumbled under the assault, their grandeur reduced to rubble. Watching the chaos unfold, Lin felt a twisted satisfaction. Every fallen demon meant more lifeless bodies, perfect fuel for his favorite skill. Corpse explosion. As the first corpse rolled to his feet, a wicked grin spread across his face. The tide of battle had shifted irreversibly in his favor. Lin began to stride forward, detonating bodies with bursts of dark energy, each explosion sending shockwaves through the ranks of his enemies. The abyssal commander watched helplessly, unable to stem the onslaught. Lin's mind flashed with memories of humanity's suffering, centuries of demon raids, cities reduced to ashes, and the grand professional tournament, where demons had stormed the city and unleashed havoc. With every level gained, his power surged. Lin's voice rang out, cold and commanding. "Wipe the palace clean. Leave no soul standing." His skeletal warriors and mages obeyed with ruthless efficiency, their magic and blades cutting down anything that moved. But Lin suddenly halted, his gaze fixed on a peculiar structure, a summoning circle pulsing with ominous purple abyssal energy. Realization dawned. This was a teleportation array, capable of bridging the abyssal city to human territories in an instant. Curiosity sparked. Could I use this to escape the dungeon, he wondered, a glimmer of hope piercing his battle-hardened exterior. An idea struck him. Lin ordered a skeletal warrior to drag over a demon's corpse. Though he carried a disguised demon core's aura, it wasn't enough to activate the portal. But the residual abyssal energy within the corpse might be the key. His gamble paid off. As the lifeless body touched the array, the portal hummed to life, casting eerie shadows across the blood-soaked floor. Approaching the activated pedestal, Lin's heart raced as a screen flickered to existence, displaying locations in an unrecognizable script, undoubtedly demonic. He hesitated for a heartbeat, then selected a name that seemed simple, its characters flowing like whispers. As the scene shifted, abyssal reinforcements arrived, their roars echoing through the ruined palace. But they were too late. Lin had vanished, leaving only the aftermath of his wrath. The demons stared at the flickering portal, dread gnawing at their hearts. Where had the human gone? They had no answer. One thing was clear. They couldn't allow Lin to roam free. His existence was a threat unlike any they had ever faced. With grim resolve, they dispatched messengers to the Demon King, knowing the massacre had only just begun. With this, the latest chapter comes to an end.